Shut up and sit down.
Hey, and welcome to the Freja MMA podcast. Join us in our discussion about the beautiful sport which is mixed martial arts.
Hey guys, and welcome to a new episode of the Freja MMA podcast, aka the Teddy Bear Factory, because we seem to just be getting teddy bears on this show. It's kind of funny. Today's episode, we are joined by the newly signed Cage Warriors fighter, Edward the Bad Teddy Bear Walls, who is representing Finland and is such an exciting fighter. If you haven't seen any of his fights, just YouTube them. He's fought on Cage a bunch of times, and he has quite a recognizable style, should I say. You've seen a bit of Adesanya and Anderson Silva before. It was a great interview. You can really tell that he's has a great mindset when it comes to this fighting game. So, without further ado, check out my interview with the Bad Teddy Bear, Edward Walls. Hello, Edward. How are you?
Hello, man. I'm good. I'm doing fantastic.
First of all, congratulations on the news. Cage Warriors, you're going to be fighting there this summer. That sounds great.
Yep, it's a big one. It's a bombshell, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait. It's been a long time since my last fight, so yeah, man. Let's go.
Uh, okay, so before we get into talking about the fight and everything, if you can give a short introduction to people that may not know you, who you are, and how have you got to this spot now?
Well, I'm my name is Edward Walls, aka Bad Teddy Bear, for you guys who don't know. And yeah, originating from Finland as an MMA fighter, and I've been fighting under in Lappeenranta under Team East Front for a while now, and yeah, started in Lappeenranta, still in Lappeenranta, representing Lappeenranta, and we've been fighting and working our way up, especially in cage MMA, where most of my work has been done.
Mhm.
And now, I think my last fight was what, last year February, and then after that I had to go to the army to do my duties.
Mhm.
So that's been a very long time. But after that, we've been pretty much searching for fights, getting ready for fights and searching for fights. And that's when my manager actually came up with a good plan. And yeah, here we are. We got the opportunity. It was actually on the back of our minds because we kind of knew at some point we'll be fighting for Cage Warriors, but we just didn't know when or it's the perfect time.
Mhm.
Once he figured it out, we were good to go. So now we're here.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan as well, and what a platform. I mean, Cage Warriors, a lot of Europeans see it as the platform to the UFC, so must be
Yes.
a nice goal for
Yes.
you.
Yes. I would say it's a milestone. It's just one of those milestone. It's like, of course, like many times let's say many Finnish fighters, when we're fighting, for example, in cage organization, which has been doing an awesome job, especially like promoting us Finnish fighters.
Mhm.
But I think this one is like, it's kind of a next level because it's that closer, and we get to actually showcase our skills to the world, not just only to the European region, but also to the world. So yeah, man, it's exciting, and I mean, this is something every MMA fighter would dream of, especially coming from Europe.
Definitely. So you're at 10-5 now in your record. How
Yeah,
did you begin with martial arts to begin with in the first place?
I started with boxing. I boxed for 4 years, so that was pretty much the first combat sport that I started with, and we were training with my best friend, and at that time, normally after training, me and my best friend would take like 2 hours more to train over time because we were that into it.
Mhm.
And every time when we got to train like on those normal terms, like normal time, we didn't really like it, so we needed more time. So I used to train with my friend, but then one day I heard that okay, he had to move to Helsinki with his mom because his mom was getting a job in Helsinki. So he had to move there with his mom.
Mhm.
And well, that's when I kind of got stalked because I didn't know like there weren't other kids like that were that eager,
Mhm.
to train like I did. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna go to school and stay home then, you know. But my coach at that time that was teaching me boxing actually used to go to this MMA gym in Lauritala, which is like what 10 kilometers from here.
Mhm.
And he actually contacted me and was like, you know what? Hey, what are you doing? I was like, well, probably right now I'm not doing anything. So he was like, well, you want to come to this MMA gym? So I was like, I didn't know what the hell was MMA, first of all. I was like, what the hell is MMA? So I went Google, took my phone, I went Googling and I went to check it out. And I was like, how the hell, why would someone hit someone on the ground? Like,
Mhm.
that's like the number one rule in boxing. Don't hit a ground opponent. You do not,
Mhm.
you know? So I was like, well, what the hell is this? I don't think I can go into something like this. But oh well, I didn't have anything else to do anywhere. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go there. I'm just gonna go there. And for my liking, I mean for my bad luck, those guys they were actually having a sparring day.
Oh wow.
And guess what? Alexi was on that. Alexi was there on the same day as well. So I was like, okay, well, no problem. I got some boxing. I think I can take these guys. I was very confident because I thought my boxing was already pretty good. So I was like, no problem. Let's go. I think I can take these guys. No problem. Yeah, I got the shit beat out of me. I got the shit beat out of me. And when I went back home, that's when I started thinking like, how the hell can a human being be so vulnerable?
Mhm.
When it came to kicking, I didn't have any answer. When it came to the ground game, I didn't have absolutely no answer. And I felt like I was useless. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I went home, but then I was like, you know what? I don't want to be this vulnerable. I don't want to be this weak. I can't be this weak. So yeah, I took 4 months of beating before I actually started, getting the hang of
Mhm.
it. But that's how it started, and I've always been here, and I've trained my ass off, and got myself to the spot that I wanted to be, and I've kind of set goals for myself. First, of course, when I started as a pro, it was more like just trying to do well,
Mhm.
trying to do well, do as I can. But then later on, I realized, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this. And Cage at that time was the biggest, the closest, biggest promotion in Finland. I was like, you know what? I want to fight for Cage organization.
Yeah.
And then, and then we work our ass off. I got to Cage organization, and then at a certain point, I said I wanted to be a main event fighter. So we started working our butt off, and I got to a main event fighter, and now I'm a main event status fighter. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster. I've had some tough fights, and it's built me up as a fighter. And yeah, right now I feel like I'm ready. I'm pretty much ready for anything.
That sounds awesome. I mean, from what your story's saying and me doing a bit of research and watching some of your fight footage, you really see that the mental game with you seems to be the strongest thing. I mean, like you're saying,
Yes.
going to the MMA gym and getting beaten up and then being like, I'm not going to allow that to happen next time. It's
Yes.
that thing
Yeah.
of always leveling up and always leveling up. So, like, I can kind of see that in your fight style.
Yeah. 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 For me, it's I don't know. Like I've always been asked by people, especially my family members, like, why do you fight? Like that is one of the craziest things you could do. You could go and play football or tennis. I
Mm,
mean, and I'm like, yeah, well, even in football and tennis, if you want to be the best, you got to be ready to risk something.
mhm.
Doesn't matter what you do in life. If you want to be the best at it, you have to risk something. There's always something you're going to risk. So, I mean, for me, fighting, I'm fascinated with the danger.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I'm fascinated with being able to control danger.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how dangerous a situation can be, but being able to actually control it. That's what fascinates me.
Yeah, and as well, if people are going back to watching your fights and watching your style, I would say that I see a bit of like Adesanya kind of Anderson Silva kind of mode. So is that
Yes.
the people that you look up to and the people that you inspire to be?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And actually, like Adesanya has been one of those guys that I've been following for a long time already. Since his kickboxing days, I've been following him. And his style is pretty similar to mine, and that's why I like watching him. And the primary reason to that is he kind of uses the same techniques that I do, but he uses them that much better. He's much more precise with them, and his decision making is just that much better, you know. And it's just fascinating to watch his decision making, how he makes decisions, and what kind of techniques he chooses to use based on the opponent. You know, it's just fascinating to me.
I think it's fascinating for all of us fight fans, shall I say.
Yeah,
So what year was this that you went from this boxing gym to this MMA gym?
I started MMA in my late 17s. I was probably turning 18 at that point. But yeah, that's pretty much the time that I started, that I actually went to that gym.
Around what year would
But
you say?
in my late 17s is when I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because from
Yeah.
what I'm hearing, like you're saying that you were mostly boxing and things like that, but from what I've seen of your kicks, seems like you've been training them a lot then.
Oh, my kicks are, I would say, when it comes to fighting, I feel like my kicks are the ones they fear the most, because they don't know when it's gonna come. When I throw my kicks, they're so unpredictable. I never really show when I'm gonna kick, because I rely more on boxing to set up the kicks. That's why it's very hard to actually see when the kicks are gonna come, instead of like being that type of punch, punch, kick, kick, punch, punch, and the opponent actually knowing that at certain point, either the combination has to stop with a kick or end with a kick. So it's very hard. It's very easy to predict. But when you're playing a good boxing game and then suddenly you put a kick in between it, it's very hard to determine when it's going to come.
Yeah, we've seen a few knockouts from
Yeah.
your feet, shall I say.
Yeah.
So now we're looking to is it June, which is Cage Warriors, right? Where you'll be facing quite a well-known name in Steve Aimable.
Yes.
So how did the journey come about with the contact with Cage Warriors, and then what do you think about your opponent?
Yeah, I have to thank my manager for the good job. He's actually been the one, mostly putting me out there, and he's done an awesome job. We've gotten actually a lot of offers from different promoters, but we knew that when it comes to getting the recognition, this was the best option for us. Especially now for me, I want to be able to fight in a lot in a very minimum time. Because I had so much time off. But yeah, man, I got the call, and my manager told me, okay, there's this guy, Steve Aimable, that Cage Warriors offered you. And of course, for me, I don't really care. The first name that comes up, I go with it. I've always done that. And I don't like thinking too much. So he came up with Steve Aimable, and I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, let's go. I didn't even think about it. It's like, send the contract, and I'll sign it, and let's go. And then I went to watch a few fights of him, and that's when I actually realized, okay, well, this guy's actually, I think he's like fought for the title too.
I think he's been up there in the title contention, definitely.
Yeah. He's probably fought for the title too, and yeah, man, he seems like an all-rounded fighter, but I still see his biggest strength to be his cardio. He seems to have cardio for days. You know what I mean? He's in a very good shape. He can go the full distance with the amount of cardio he has. But when it comes to the skills, I'm just too. I'm a different level. I'm a different level, man. I'm a different level. Like, I think when it comes to like the decision making, I think I'm up there, man, with the best. I'm up there with the best.
I mean, it sounds similar to your last opponent as well. You said that he was very the energy and his gas tank would be the thing
Yeah.
that his biggest strength, and then you got a split decision there as well.
Yes, and that's what actually has been for me. I'm not like an egotistic fighter. I'm very realistic of myself. I know what is my strength, and I also know my weaknesses. So we're trying to work on my weaknesses, which, of course, because of the fact that I'm very explosive, I'm very fast, and I have a very high level of twitchiness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a lot from me to be able to, keep that, energy going for a longer period of time. So that's why we're trying to focus mainly on cardio right now. So to be able to keep that energy up and to be able to keep that level of explosiveness throughout the full duration of a fight. Because if I don't get tired, it's hard to beat me. Like if I don't get tired in a fight, it's hard to beat me. It's almost like impossible
Mm-hmm.
to beat me if I get tired. Most of my fights that I've lost pretty much come to cardio issues,
Mm-hmm.
like because sometimes I become very conservative with my cardio,
Yeah.
you know. I start overthinking about the cardio too much. So I start becoming too conservative with it. But as long as my cardio is there, as we're working on now, and it's actually there right now, but of course you can always peak it. But if I don't get tired, these guys can't beat me. They can't.
So when you look at your fighting style, how much would you say is fight IQ and how much would you say is your explosiveness? I mean, I see that you are like a bit of a chess player, a bit of a methodical fighter there.
Yeah, I would say 90% is pure mind games. I like playing mind games when I'm in there. It's like an intellectual debate. It's a violent intellectual debate that I try to have with my
That's a
opponents.
great quote. That is a great quote.
It's like I'll be like, okay, you know what? Here's my cards. Show me your cards, and let's see who knows how to play the game better.
Mm.
And most of the times, it's like, especially the way I fight. I used to fight in a very long distance. You know what I mean? So when the fight starts, I would stay a little bit further away from my opponents. But one thing I realized that what that does is it allows my opponent's physical ability to actually take a part in a fight.
Mm.
But when we're in the touching distance, in that 100%, risk of getting punched
Mm-hmm.
or getting touched distance, it automatically becomes a fight of skills only.
Yeah.
Because that distance, it's very hard to explode. It's very hard to actually surprise. So if you want to be able to punch someone from those distance, you can't explode.
Mm-hmm.
You have to maneuver. You have to use hand gestures to try to maneuver your way in. You know what I mean? You can't surprise someone that easily.
So are
And that's what
are you saying that like you'll hear a lot of time with the commentators in these big events about a feel up process. So a bit of a feel out process during the first maybe 30 seconds of a
yes,
fight. So you like to go directly
yes.
into the phone booth and
I just like to go there, just go there, because one thing it does, it's many guys, especially fighters who aren't used to being in that 100%, risk of getting hit area,
Mhm,
they start backing off. They back up very easily because they're not comfortable being that close.
mhm.
So I'm personally trying to master being that close to my opponents because it's only going to come down to skills. If you haven't been in that distance, if you haven't been training in that distance, even being able to maneuver with the hands, hand fighting and stuff like that, they have a huge problem, surviving in that distance. So hand fighting for me, it's a big thing, and that's why I put a lot of emphasis in that. Because if you don't know how to hand fight in that distance, you're going to drown. You're literally going to drown.
Yeah, it's a very smart strategy. I'm not sure if many people do that as well. I mean, like you're saying, a lot of people like that kind of feel out process. As I wonder what
Yeah.
he does here and I wonder what he does there. But you're the more, sorry to take the quote from Cobra Kai, but strike first, strike hard.
Just go and let's go, you know what I mean? It's like once our hand touches, I already know. It's like when, and the reason why I actually do like, hand touching is because I don't like relying on my eyes only.
Hmm.
Like many fighters will kind of allow themselves to just rely on their eyes. I like to rely on feel, because the more I can touch you, the more I can indicate easier when you try to, for example, attack me. That's why these guys are having a very hard time to find me. They have very hard time finding me always. Sometimes they might get a punch or two through, but very rarely. It's very hard to touch me as long as I can feel you.
Let's say that the Cage Warriors fans are watching this podcast right now, and you want to give them
Yeah.
maybe 3 words to describe your fighting style before June 25th. What would those words be?
First of all, I would say 2 words: methodical, and very explosive. That's what my fighting style have always been about. And one thing you don't do in my fights is blink. You do not blink, because when those knockouts come, or those knockout situations come, or even like very hostile situations, right? They come so fast. So there's no point of blinking. It's always going to be action from the bell start to the end of the fight. It's always action.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. Everyone should definitely tune in, check it out. UFC Fight Pass, Cage Warriors. It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one, man.
So, my last podcast was also with a Finnish fighter called the Teddy Bear, Glenn Sparv.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I was thinking about maybe changing my podcast to the Teddy Bear Factory because I'm getting so many of them. Explain this one to us. Why are you the bad teddy bear?
Well, I think the bad teddy bear comes with my personality. Like, many people don't know where the bad teddy bear actually comes from, but it comes with my personality, and that personality, is invested in my name also. So people normally call me Eddie. Bad, of course, it's inside a cage, and a teddy bear is normally considered to be a fluffy, very, easy to talk to, very easily approachable human being. And then, of course, the Teddy comes from Eddie, so that's the my nickname that people normally call me with.
And what you say back to Glenn Sparv that will say you'll fight against the Teddy title.
I mean, Glenn is actually such a cool dude as well,
Mhm.
and he's so relentless as well. So I say, well, I guess we gotta go. I would say I'll challenge him to a to a BJJ or submission match, and we'll see who really takes it.
Oh wow,
Who knows how to cuddle better? I think he will take that one
you're going
though.
into his deep waters with the BJJ there.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go there. I know I'm gonna pretty much get crushed, but there can only be one teddy bear. So let's go.
Like I guess you're gonna have to wait a few years to get to the middleweight kind of weight class as well.
Yes, I gotta bulk up, man. I gotta bulk up and get there.
Definitely, definitely. So this event in Cage Warriors, is it true saying that this is your first time fighting outside of Finland?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
How are you feeling about that? Do you feel like it will be different, or do you feel like it's more excitement?
Nope, nope, doesn't matter. I say, send me location. I'm gonna quote Habib on this one. Send me location, I'll be there. I don't really care where I fight. I think most importantly, it's the heads that I'm going after.
Hmm.
I care more about the heads. It's like going into a job interview and showing your CV. You know what I mean? I want my CV to be very, very, impressive.
Hmm.
So I don't really care where I go. I care about the guy that I'm going for. That's what matters. So I'm excited. I'm only excited, man.
Yeah, and as I said, it's a great platform to show off your skills.
Yes.
One thing I saw that kept on appearing, should I say, in your previous fights, and that is your walkout song. Could you explain exactly what that is and where it came from?
Baba Yetu.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the Lord's prayer in Swahili.
Hmm.
And I think the most question I've actually gotten is, so why do I take, because most people when they walk out their songs can be probably very energetic, and my song is a little bit more calming,
Hmm.
because it's like, one thing I kind of understand is, especially before you walk in there, in order for you to be, especially me, in order for me to be able to actually fight to my full potential and not hold myself back, is I have to come clean with the fears that I have. Every fighter has fears before they step in there. Doesn't matter how many fights you have, there's always that fear before you step in there. And to be okay with whatever happens in there, you might lose a leg, you might get humiliated, you might, you might get knocked out. Before you get to step in there, you got to be okay with those factors. And that song just solidifies my position of me saying I am literally ready to go out. If I'm to go out, then I am ready to go out, but I'm not going to take a step back. We're going forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's it. Just calms me down. It's like if I have to go today, then I have to go today. If today is the day, then we're going today. But I don't care. I'm not going to allow that to hold me back to actually fighting to my full potential.
So we'll be hearing that in Cage Warriors on June 25th.
Absolutely. And probably to the where to the until the end of my career. Yes.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. So you was one of 3 Finnish athletes that got signed to Cage Warriors in this bunch together. How do you feel about representing Finland, and how do you feel about the MMA scene in Finland and how it's evolving so much?
Yeah, man. Well, starting with the MMA scene, I mean, MMA in Finland is very, 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 very young, right?
Mm-hmm.
And based on the time that MMA has actually been, in the scene of Finland and the way it's been elevating, we've gotten really good fighters, man. And I would say the knowledge that we've acquired, not only by us just training here and being, you know, presence in our own field and in our own country, but seeing how stuff is being done, outside in the other world,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing also like the involvement of UFC and its actual impact, in MMA in Finland. Yeah, man, it's been a roller coaster, but it seems to be growing so fast. Like now, I would say almost every fourth, you know, kid that you would see out there is probably doing either jiu-jitsu or MMA or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
These youngsters are getting really into it. They enjoy it. And soon in the future, I feel like maybe in five or 10 years, we're going to have a lot more, fighters coming from Finland, but we're getting better. And one thing I feel like we've been actually one of the best at is our wrestling. Of course, I'm not known for my wrestling ability, but we are pretty much known for our wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
especially in MMA or jiu-jitsu or SOA. But our wrestling has been very strong here. And now the kicking aspect and the punching aspect, the kickboxing aspect, adding to that, yeah, man, you're getting some dangerous fighters here.
Yeah, deadly.
And for me, like Finland has given me everything, man. It's given me everything. I would say without the support that I've gotten here, I wouldn't have become the fighter I've become.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely an honor to represent Finland as a fighter, and of course, bringing a little bit more color and spices into it. You know what I mean? I'm bringing a little bit of that African African spices on top of it, but I'm very proud to represent my country.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, and that's what we like, kind of thing. The whole, there's a mixture of cultures all around the world, and it's just bringing out the best of everything.
Yeah, yeah,
As you're saying, more spices, the better.
absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely. So yeah, everyone, June 25th will be Cage Warriors. You, Edward Walls, the Bad Teddy Bear, will be facing Steve Aimable. Diddy Kong, I think his fight name is. Usually we'll give this part of the show to the guest to thank any friends, family, inspiring people, or sponsors. So this will be your time to do so now.
Well, of course, naturally, I only thank those who are constantly sweating with me and having to take my shit. But yeah, man, I mean, I mean, my coaches, my training partners, I thank them a lot, and I think I can't even thank them enough, man. They have to take the hits, they have to take the punches, you know, they have to withstand all my bullshit and all my suffering. But hey, this is the reason we're at the level we are, because we work hard, and nothing is going to change from now on, and things are going to go forward, and we're going to keep on fighting. So I thank you guys. Salute us.
Sounds great, man. So yeah, June 25th. I'm looking forward to your performance, and we'll see you there.
Let's go, and don't blink.
Don't blink.
Don't blink.
All right.
It might be fast, man. It might be fast.
All right. Thank you, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for your time.